everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 127. Andrew Eisen here, all by my lonesome because Zachary has better things to do. And I do not. So, this is the final Molehill Mountain podcast of this year. There will be more next year, but Zachary is busy next weekend, and so am I. So, no podcast next weekend, but we'll resume in the new year. I have no plan. I have two topics that I want to discuss. I didn't really prep the show much because I've been busy playing Nier Automata, which is very good, and I am enjoying it quite a bit. I'm getting to a point in the game where everything is miserable and depressing, and I'm sitting here playing it going, I don't know if I want to play anymore. The game's just bumming me out, man. But I would say that despite some ham-fisted handling theme, despite some inconsistent characterization, Nier Automata is one of the finest examples of world building I have seen in quite some time. It's really, really wonderful. It's just a really interesting world to wander around in and explore and learn about. And you keep learning about the world as you play through the game, which is great. It's not like, here's the premise and here's all you will ever need to know. That's it. That's all we've got. No, you keep learning new interesting things as you play through the game, which is very cool. So Matthew says Yoko Taro is not very subtle. No, he's not. Subtlety is not the name of this game. This game will hit you in the face with a hammer. It's like, do you get it? Yeah, stop hitting me. I think I have not played the original Nier, and I have not played Drakengard. From what I have read, however, it sounds like Yoko Taro's storytelling sensibilities paired with Platinum's gameplay is a match made in heaven. Having read about Drakengard and the original Nier, what I'm getting is the game is clunky and not particularly fun to play, but it's the story just and characters just pull you in and keep you going. With Nier Automata, it seems that Platinum's peerless gameplay keeps everything actually fun to play, in addition to enjoying the story and the world and the characters and such. Still on Route A? No, I'm on Route C. So, or hell, depending on your preferences in gameplay. Certainly, I'll try to. Yeah, it's definitely not for everyone. I'll certainly say that. But I am very much enjoying the game. That's quick. Well, it's not that quick. I've just had a bunch of days off. You know, I played it Sunday. When did I start? I think started Sunday. Played it pretty much all day. Played it like for an hour or two every night this week, and then played it all day yesterday and almost all day today. So I've put probably 30 some hours in the game. So I've just been playing the hell out of the game. I have received a couple of the bad joke endings. Of course, I took my OS out just to see what would happen. I ate a poisonous fish. Yeah, about 30 some odd hours is what I've put into the game so far. I forget when I started. I'm pretty sure I started it last weekend sometime. But my free time has, well, not all of it, but I've just been using my free time to play the game. So, because there's, I don't think it's necessary at this point, but there's a video I want to make, which I may or may not be able to do, kind of involving Well, hell, I'll just tell you guys. I want to do a video game fashion police episode for 2B. Um, and I wanted to play a bit of the game just so I can get a sense of the character. Not terribly necessary when commenting on her outfit, but Matthew says minor spoiler, but you will be given a choice at the end of the game. To get the true ending, you have to do both to get the main ending. Okay. Um, that's typically how I do it, and that seems to be the game has an interesting way to handle its side quests, in the sense that if you didn't complete a side quest on a playthrough, typically uh, you just have to redo it on the next playthrough, if it's available. But there are some side quests that kind of carry over. Like there's one where you have to invest money into another robot's project. I think it's like 180,000 G's or whatever the currency is. Um, if you invested $50,000 and then beat Route A, through Route B, you've already invested that much, so that one doesn't reset, which is nice. Um, and the reward for that one is pretty lovely. You get a I've been wearing the hair bow for the entire game, but as soon as I unlock the alien mask, I've been wearing that for a while, and it's so funny. It's it's amazingly creepy. It's really well done. Um, so yeah, Nier Automata. I was not interested in this game whatsoever when it was being advertised poorly by Square Enix last year. I heard from everyone how wonderful it was, but everything I saw just looked dull and bland and boring. And then I played the demo and I said, oh, it's good. It's got fun gameplay and interesting visuals and great music. Why isn't Square Enix telling anybody about this? Why isn't Square Enix communicating this in its advertising? The world may never know. Um, so thank goodness this game had a demo. In fact, that's another video idea I have is games whose demos convinced me to actually buy the game. Unfortunately, I can only think of 2 examples, and I'd like to have at least 3 for a video. Um, Matthew says, to be frank, how do you advertise a Yoko Taro game? Um, I thought the demo did it really nicely. I think it would have behooved the marketers to show scenes from the game that had a little color in them. Because the advertising, at least the advertising I saw, seemed to focus primarily on the damn desert, which is brown. Just endless expanses of brown. And occasionally they'd cut into the ruined city, which is gray, broken buildings. So the game just looks dull as all hell. It also didn't do anything to show off the various different forms of gameplay. You never got a good sense of really what the game, it's a brawler, but you didn't get a sense of, oh, there's shooter stuff too. That's neat. Oh, there's real, there's weapon switching and all kinds of cool little things. You can ride a moose. Put that in the trailer. Moose riding. Put that as a bullet point on the back of the box. You can ride a moose. There, there, Square Enix, hire me for your marketing department. Rename Nier Automata. Second subtitle: Moose Rider. um, I I think visuals are important, and the game is quite lovely, but it does take place in a future where humanity is no longer there. So the great civilizations of humanity have gone to pot, and you would expect it to be kind of dusty and dirty and gray and brown. But the game does have a lot of vibrancy to it because nature has taken a lot of it back. So there are a lot of greens and oranges and blues, and there's another place that's extraordinarily colorful that I don't really want to spoil, but it's my favorite place in the game. Um, it's happy and colorful, and that's all I'll say. Uh, and I'm kind of glad they didn't spoil that because the first time you come across it is one of those, what is this? And it's really great. But they just the advertising I saw anyway, and I'm sure there were advertisements I did not see, but the ones I saw focused primarily on the most boring parts of the game, or at least the most visually uninteresting parts of the game. It looked like, oh, we've got another gray and brown game where you wander around a boring, desolate, empty area and fight robots. Um, and for some reason, I didn't key into, until I played the game, just how adorable the robots are. I don't know if, I don't know. I would have highlighted that in the advertising. Look at these adorable little robots that you're murdering. um, I mean, it's kind of a cross between Wall E and Johnny Five in adorability factor. I just think Square Enix could have done a much, much, much better job at actually advertising the game. Some of the story and the more quirky Yoko Taro-y stuff, that's kind of hard to express in a 30-second or 1 minute TV spot. But I don't think you really need to. Show Emil the moon face, that mask that Yotaro's always wearing. That character's in the game. Just show off little bits like that, and show your character, you know, riding a moose, and there you go. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Liu Yi. Give me a phonetic pronunciation on that again. I always doubt myself whenever I see that, and you've told me how to pronounce it 6 times. Um, did I notice you were fighting 60s sci-fi style robots and you play modern android design? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the game. What's interesting is a lot of times it's hard because there's so much bad storytelling in video games or media in general that a lot of times you're not certain if something is intentional, if something is foreshadowing, or if it's just bad design. you know but so far the game seems to be setting up its pins and knocking them down pretty admirably. So a lot of the stuff I picked up on in the beginning of the game, I'm I have more and more confidence that that wasn't just a fluke and will actually be paid off later in the game. Um, EZK is not here tonight, but I'll I'll tell him you said hey. And yeah, happy holidays to everyone out there. We got through Hanukkah okay, which seems to happen earlier and earlier in December every year. I forget what it's like, December 2nd or 3rd or something this year. My sister Facebooked about it. She posted a menorah with one candle lit saying, "It is time." And I went, "It is? Already? We just had Thanksgiving. We can't have another holiday so soon, especially one with 8 damn days to it." I'm glad 12 Days of Christmas is just a song, because there's actually 8 days of Hanukkah, a holiday I have to look up the spelling of every time, too. Christmas is much easier to spell. Um, yeah, man. Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's. Some of you probably have birthdays in there. I've never learned what Kwanzaa is, but I hear that's a holiday in December too. Uh, just a lot of holidays. But holidays, stressful as they are, they can be a lot of fun too. And I think I got I got some Christmassy presents and things done and mailed to my sister. So Matthew says, I won't say what the choice, but when you'll be given a choice when you beat the game and there's only one right choice. Okay. So loogie. Okay, works for me. So, let's see. For topics this week, Insomniac Games announced a new. There's dozens of Spidey-Man suits in their Spidey-Man game, covering a wide range of Spider-Man outfits, and of course, not all of them. But and a lot of gamers were holding out hope for their favorite Spider-Man outfit because there were like 3 DLC packs. It's like, oh, is it going to be in pack 1? No. Is it going to be in pack 2? No. Is it going to be in pack 3? Oh, shucks, it's not. A lot of people are holding out hope for a Spider-Man suit based on the design in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. And Insomniac Games, uh, although they had released all their DLC, released it for free earlier this week, which was nice of them. However, there were some gamers who were less than polite to Insomniac Games. Suzanne says, "Wait, is the other dude not here?" Yeah, EZK's doing the family thing like you do, but I have no family here, so. But we'll both be out next weekend. What was I saying? Oh, some gamers were whiny, entitled, abusive little assholes. To the point where I have a lot of respect for Insomniac Games for, releasing the Raimi suit with their heads held high, because I can be pretty spiteful. And I imagine it was pretty easy for them to think, you know what we should do? We should announce the Raimi suit. We should show pictures of it and say, you know what? Because some of you are just horrible little assholes, we're not releasing it. And it's your fault. Merry Christmas! Of course, that's punishing the minority, punishing the majority for the actions of the minority, which is never cool. However much you might actually want to do that. It's a shame there isn't a way to have the game linked to your Twitter account, and anyone who's being an asshole doesn't get the suit. It's like oh, little Jimmy here, you were quite the jerk. So everyone gets the free Sam Raimi Spider-Man suit, but you. Now you think about what you've done. Oh, Zachary's in the chat. Hey, Zachary. And I made this distinction on Twitter, and I'll make it here. I just want to be clear that wanting something like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man suit does not make you an entitled asshole gamer. Expressing your want for something like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man suit also does not make you a whiny, entitled asshole gamer. Expressing that want and subsequent disappointment for not getting the Sam Raimi Spider-Man suit does not in and of itself make you a whiny, entitled asshole gamer. Being harassing and abusive towards Insomniac Games, or anyone else for that matter, that does. So don't do that. I would have been, I'm not playing the game, but I would have been right disappointed too. And I may have said something about it. I think it's just don't be an asshole. If you're thinking about being an asshole, stop it. Just don't. So, yeah, kudos to Insomniac Games for releasing the suit anyway. Of course, I'm sure Sony would have made them, or whoever. Yeah, Sony is publishing the game. It's like, hey, Sony, we're thinking about not doing this thing that we just spent, 5 months. You spent 5 months negotiating the rights to do the suit, and then we designed it and bug tested and did it. We're thinking about not releasing it just to give a middle finger to the um, minority of gamers who were being assholes online. Sony's probably like, yeah, no, no. So, um, and I heard from someone that there's no Spider-Man Noir outfit, and or I'm sorry, there might not be, but someone said the symbiote suit, um, which I don't know if they're right. That one is kind of surprising that that's not in there, but considering how many are, I mean that seems kind of an obvious one, but yeah, can't have everything as much as we'd like to. So anyway, good on Insomniac Games and to the whiny entitled asshole gamers, grow up. I mean, does that help? Did I make things better? It, are any of you watching and thinking, you know what? Yeah, I should stop doing that and grow up. So I hope I've done my part. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about tonight? Saw the Hellboy trailer. Didn't really do much for me. Um, I saw the Guillermo del Toro films and rather enjoyed both of them. Big fan of Neil Marshall's work. Dog Soldiers is one of my favorite werewolf movies. Uh, what else do you do? Descent's good. Even what's the kind of kind of Mad Max, Snake Plissken esque. It's a riff on Escape from New York. I forget what, Doomsday or something. Pretty good. That one's a lot of fun. There's a kind of a Viking movie, which is okay. I'm hoping it's just a bad trailer because yeah, it did nothing for me. Uh, yeah, yeah, Luigi. This one's for. I didn't have anything planned because I've just been playing video games all day because I just need to relax and do nothing but play video games for a while. I mean, I've been doing a few other things. I've been eating, occasionally go to the bathroom, uh, you know, things like that. um, what else has happened this? I don't know what else has happened this week. That's yeah. I have nothing going on uh, except going to see my sister next weekend, and we're gonna try and get a few videos done. Want to do a video game fashion police for 2B. Um, I've been keeping score. My sister and I both have been keeping track of every movie and TV show we've watched this year, and we're gonna do a most impactful movie of 2018. Even movie. We watched. I bought my sister a subscription to Filmstruck, which is a streaming service. Was a streaming service for classic movies, which Warner Brothers killed shortly after I bought my sister a subscription to it. So while she was over here, we just marathoned a bunch of classic movies that we hadn't seen, and it'd be interesting to see if any of those show up on the list. For example, I finally saw Citizen Kane, a movie that I've heard good things about, and I finally saw it, so that was nice. I want to see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I was going to see it last weekend, but it was only playing in literally every single theater that I was willing to drive to. Only had 3D and IMAX showings of the film. And while I don't mind 3D, I do mind an extra $4 or so on top of the already high ticket prices. I'm way too cheap to pay that. In fact, I only ever go see movies on Sunday matinees, Sunday before noon, because it's cheaper and it's still a little over $7. Um, But Bumblebee came out this week, so looks like it bumped Spidey off of the 3D screen. So I'm going to try and see it tomorrow morning. Very excited for that one. I'd like to see Bumblebee too, because we've had 5 live-action Transformers, and wouldn't Transformer movies, and wouldn't it be nice if there was a good one? I say, having only seen 2 of them. The first Transformers movie is watchable. Is Yeah, it's watchable. That's as charitable as I'll be. Uh, 2 is phenomenally bad. 2 is like, people do long video essays about how bad Twilight is and how bad Batman v Superman is. But no one talks about how bad Transformers 2 is. That movie took me a year to get through because it's so boring. It's about giant robots punching each other. How do you make that boring? I mean, the first movie is not good, but at least it's not, just mind-numbingly dull. You have a $3 movie theater in your area? Nice. That sounds nice. Is it like small screen, non-stadium seating, kind of crappy theater, or is it a good theater? Because there's a which Landmark can one of the smaller, more arty theaters downtown, which sometimes will play the movies that only get a very narrow release, but movies that I really want to see, and then aren't released wide, so I can see them there occasionally, and it's just a crappy theater. Um, I really hate that theater. The seats are so uncomfortable. Um, let's see. I haven't watched anything. I haven't played a lot of games this year. I've been in addition to movies and TV shows I've watched this year. Let me pull up my Excel spreadsheet. Let's see. I have watched 83 movies this year. Movies. This also includes TV shows and like uh, also if I checked out like one episode of an anime, that includes that. Um, like I watched one episode of Supergirl, and that was enough because it's terrible. Um, Love to Lie Angle. That was another anime that I think I did a debut review for. I only watched episode 1, so take that 83 with that context. But video games, I've played 26 video games this year, but that may be a little misleading because 13 of them are demos, so half of them are actually demos. So I've only played 13 video games this year so far. I still have about a week left. Might get one more in there. Let's see. Let's see. I played Danganronpa, the first one, which I thought was very good. A lot of fun. There's the other game that I played a demo for and immediately bought the game. It was Danganronpa 3, which I haven't picked up yet because it's stupid expensive. I'm waiting for it to drop in price. Dragon Quest Heroes 2, Fist of the North Star, which is Dragon Quest Heroes 2, lengthy game. Fist of the North Star, lengthy game. It's like one of the Yakuza games. Gravity Rush 2. Monster Hunter World, very lengthy game. Nier Automata, playing now. Pandora's Tower, Resident Evil Revelations 2, Sin and Punishment Star Successor, Stardew Valley. Only played it for an hour or so with Zachary on one of the podcasts this year. Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Oh, pardon me. Yakuza 6 and Yakuza Kiwami 2, both very both very lengthy games. So. 90% of them played during that. No, I only put. Did I forget to put Senran Kagura Reflections and Just Dance 2019 on the? I did. Let's fix that now because that's definitely something I played. So we've got Senran Kagura Reflects with an X. It's not actually a word, but it's okay. And Just Dance 2019, which I own, and I'm not particularly happy about because it's terrible. Um, yeah, during the marathon, I played mostly Breath of the Wild. Oh, I guess I could put on the list the games that I played with Super Metal Dave. Um, Turtles in Time, Contra 3, Flashback, and what else did we do? I'd have to go back through the. I know he played F-Zero for a bit. I think while I was doing something. Yeah, we did Turtles, Turtles in Time, Contra, Star Fox was the other one. So, and we played them all the way through, except Flashback. So yeah, that counts. So yay! uh, yeah. So did anything actually happen this week in the game world that I just wasn't paying attention to? Because I browsed really briefly for. Oh, that was one thing I did want to talk about. Okay, so new topic. I should have written this stuff down because I had two, and this was the other one. Um, I have, for the last couple of years, seen several people opine that when giving the gift of gaming to your little gamer, specifically when gifting the gamer in your life a console, it would behoove you to open the box, take the console out of the box, plug the console into the TV, hook it up to the internet, create a user account, and update the console. And then perhaps unhook it up and put it back in the box and then wrap it. I have heard this suggested from multiple sources. I don't have children. Let's just put that out there. Don't ever do that. Ever is my reaction to that. Uh, Having got that out of my system, I can understand the point behind doing that. See, when I was a children, uh, I actually never got a console for Christmas, but when I was a children, consoles, you plug them into the wall, plug them into the TV, plug a game cartridge in, turn them on, and you play. There was no day one patch. There was no system updating. There was no setting up accounts. You plug them into the TV, and you go. That's it. There's no setup required. It's not like you get a console. It's like, great, 3 hours from now, maybe we can actually play a game. So I get the idea behind doing that. However, I would caution you, know your gamer, because there are gamers out there, I'm one of them, who will kill you, figuratively, if you open our. That would be like for Valentine's Day, gifting your lover a box of assorted chocolates and opening it up and eating a few of them first. You don't do that. Ever. Ever. Never, ever, ever, ever do that for specific gamers anyway. I'm sure some gamers genuinely do not care and would be very happy that you took the time to set the thing up so that they can play right away. But I would be livid if you opened my game console and started futzing around with it first. That would That would not go well. So make sure you know your gamer before you do that, because some of them won't take kindly to that. I'd be into chat. Let me know. What are your thoughts on that? If you got a console for Christmas, would you be happy that someone opened it and set it up first, or would that feel like an invasion? As someone eating your food before you, or one of the things I see all the time is I was going to say someone driving your car, which reminds me of all the, especially around this time of year, you always see these commercials where people buy each other cars for Christmas. They bring their loved one out, holding their eyes, and surprise, it's a car with a bow on top. I'm thinking, does anyone actually do that? But a car as a Christmas present? I mean, yeah, rich people, sure, but that is foreign to me. The idea of buying someone a car for Christmas, buying someone a console is like, but they're like 300, $400. That's amazing to me. Buying something that costs thousands and thousands of dollars is just like, how do you do that? But I, some people have enough money to do that, I'm sure. And I have to admit, whenever I see about the only place I ever see commercials is in the gym, because that's the only place I have it. There's a TV playing. Um, when I see commercials like that, where people are like, "Oh, you bought me a car, thank you," I kind of get pissy and indignant because I don't have enough money to do that. And I'm thinking, "Oh yeah, because we can all just go out and buy a car as a gift." But then I think, you know what? There are people out there with more money than me who actually can do that and need to know what a good car would be. So I am not the target audience for those commercials. Loogie says, I've just got a Switch, so I don't know how other consoles junk work. Still, I guess I should learn it on my own. For me, even though a modern day consoles, it's going to be a while before you can actually play the game because you got to set up the console, and then uh, a lot of times whatever game you have is going to need to download some type of update. Nier Automata was no exception. It took about half an hour to download version 1.6 or whatever it is. Um, to me, that's part of the experience. Um, and if don't take that away from me. Um, but again, I'm an older person, middle aged. I mean, I'm not old, but when I was, so it's different for me. When I was a kid, consoles just they didn't update. You just plug them in and play. It's different today. So I can imagine a 5 or 6 year old or something would be, I got a PS4, yay! Oh, I have to wait 3 hours to play it because it's got to update and I got to figure out how to create a user account and all that crap. I imagine there's a bunch of 5 year olds who genuinely do not care about any of the things that I value. So, so maybe not a bad idea. But I would caution you to make super sure you know your guy, the recipient of your gift. Just make sure that that particular gamer isn't really specific about people opening this stuff. Is this the kind of gamer who will refuse to buy a new game if the seal's broken? Like, I'm the kind of guy who will go to GameStop, say, "Hey, give me, game X." And they'll hand me game X. And I'll say, "No, no, a new copy, please." And they'll say, "That is a new copy." And I'll say, "No, it's not because it's not sealed. Now get me a new copy." "Oh, well, we open all of them." "Oh, well, then you have no new copies." Bye. Um, to be fair, GameStop, if you buy the game like within the first week or so, that's rarely a problem. They don't typically, from what I've seen anyway, gut their games until a week or two later, which they should never, ever do that anyway. Um, but C'est la vie. So, hey Lou, happy holidays to you and everyone. My holidays, I'm doing nothing for Christmas this year. I am home, uh, and I'm just going to play video games. Reason being, normally I visit family on Christmas, but not this year. Mainly because, and this may seem like a silly reason, but I couldn't afford it. you know, it was just way too expensive to fly out during Christmas this year. I looked at the prices and it would have cost me over $700 minimum just for the plane tickets. That doesn't count, buying Christmas presents and stuff. Um, so I decided to visit family over New Year's instead, which cost me a little over $300, which still a lot of money, but a lot better than more than $700. So I can get there and I can still, afford to buy a couple of Christmas presents, which is nice. Lugie says, when I recognize people entering chat, I can't help but feel like I'm on Cheers. Where everybody knows your name. Do, 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 do. Yeah. All right. Topic suggestions, chat, because I'm running dry. Oh, Lou is catching a flight to Germany to visit the families in Germany, huh? Wow, man. That's I forget. You've told me where you are. I think you're in Europe somewhere. But I will probably never leave the country. Uh, I've been in Mexico and Canada. I will probably never leave the continent, although I've been to Hawaii. I will probably never get on a plane that's more than 6 hours of flight time. I think that is the absolute upper range, unless I come into money and can fly first class or something. Um, I can't stand being on a plane. Yeah, can't stand being on a plane. It's just uncomfortable. I'm not. There's no fear of flying or anything like that. Although, you know, can't help but think, I hope the plane doesn't crash. you know, but yeah, it's just I'm a. What's funny is I'm not a huge guy. I mean, I'm slightly larger than average. I'm 6 foot tall. I'm over 200 pounds. So I'm a little bigger than average, but I'm not like 6'7". I'm not like 400 pounds. But on an airplane, my knees touch the seat in front of me, and my sides touch the armrests. I'm not a huge dude. I'm only slightly larger than average, and I barely fit, and I certainly don't fit comfortably. So, uh, yeah, flying from here, I'm in San Diego. Flying from here to LA or San Francisco or Las Vegas, hour or less, or Phoenix, hour or less. That's up and down. That I can do. Going out to Missouri or Kentucky, that's a 4 hour flight, and that's about my limit. That's about all I can stand on a commercial airliner. So yeah, Lou and Brian both in the UK. I have a few viewers in the. That's the hard thing about being um, on a platform that can be viewed internationally is it's really difficult to cater to everyone to find a good time to do a thing. I should stream a game. Well, for my US based fans, I can pick a good time, but it's like 2 in the morning for Brian and Lou and some of my other UK folks. Uh, um, so that's one of the great things about the Extra Life charity event because it's 24 hours. So as long as you're not completely busy that weekend, there's always a there should be a I'm on at some point during the day. So oh, Brian's here, and I was gonna say, because isn't it like two? What are you doing up? Visiting family in Illinois. Okay, one of the more oddly spelled states. I had to look up why it's spelled Nois, Illinois. Why is it spelled that way? Oh, you watch a guy in Japan, his 7 a.m. is your 6 p.m. Yeah. I have a friend who's in, actually, I mean, like 2 days ago. She was in South Korea, but she just moved to Washington State. Uh, so I kind of got a kick out of pestering her with questions about what life is like in the future, even though she's only, I think, like 13 hours ahead of me. Um, which means I had to be on my toes for things like Christmas and Halloween or birthdays and holiday. When you wish people a merry whatever. I had to do it a day in advance because if I wished her a Merry Christmas on Christmas Day my time, I'd have been a day late, and you don't want to do that. So Brian says probably originally French. Yeah, probably. Um, So 7:47, 13 minutes. Can I drag this kicking and screaming to an hour? I don't have a. I could play some more Nier Automata and let you listen to it, but I don't have it hooked up so that you can watch. Brian says there's a city here called Des Plaines, which is obviously a French name, but it's pronounced Des Plaines. Yeah. There's a one of my favorites is uh, I think it's Toadsuck, Arkansas. Um, because I made fun of it by calling it Frog Lick, and now I can never remember if it's Toadsuck or Frog Lick. I think it's Toadsuck. So someone Google that. I think it's Arkansas because I was driving to Kentucky one time and I was driving Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Toadsuck that way. It's like what? Why would anyone do that? So, Suzanne asks, since you watch a lot of old movies on a regular basis, how do you feel they compare to modern movies, like genre topic dialogue? Um, well, I mean, it that's really broad, and you have to generalize a lot. The effects aren't as good. Um, what I find interesting is one of the many things, anyway, I find interesting is okay. I can think of two things. Um, the acting is very different, especially when you're talking about movies in the 30s, even some of the 40s, because actors were coming off of a lot of the more silent films from the 20s, um, which they had to be very broad and theatrical in their performances to communicate in order to properly communicate and convey what the hell the story is about, even though they did have title cards. And a lot of that, it took a decade or two for that to really get out of the actor's system. So it's really interesting watching movies from the 30s because you can see a lot of that overplayed theatricality in a lot of the acting styles of that era of film. Another thing I find interesting from a filmmaking perspective is a lot of the films from that era and earlier, black and white, of course, um, because there was no color, um, lighting is treated very differently in many films of that era, at least for filmmakers who knew what they were doing and gave a damn. Today, broadly, this is not a hard and fast rule. There are plenty of wonderful cinematographers, but um, it's interesting watching black and white movies because they are very specific about lighting because you have to be because you've only got you know two colors in black and white. So they had to really make sure that the lighting was exactly the way they need to be. So I find the filmmaking from a cinematography standpoint really interesting in the old black and white movies because um, they were forced to be extraordinarily creative in a way that color film doesn't force you to be. Because everything's in color and you have that natural contrast, you can a lot of times, as long as you can see it, just point and shoot. Uh, in the olden days, couldn't really do that. So it's really interesting from a filmmaking perspective to see the different approaches to lighting and cinematography in the black and white era and in the color era. It's Toadsuck. I thought it was Toadsuck. So, but making fun of it and calling it Frog Lick, I sometimes am like, well, wait a minute, is it Frog Lick? And I was making fun of it by calling it Toadsuck. But yeah, Toadsuck, Arkansas. Population, I don't know. There is a Nowhere, Arizona, which is population 4, at least last time I drove through. Um, that's, I think I forget the name of the highway, but it's the one that goes up towards Boulder, Kingman, up towards Laughlin, where the Hoover Dam is. So, yeah. Let's see. There's also a lot less sex in older movies because of things like the Hays Code and things like that. So they it, I don't like sex scenes in movies. I I know I'm like 12, ew, cooties and stuff like that. But when people start kissing on screen, I'm like, I don't want to watch this. That's icky. Watching people swap spit is gross. So I kind of like it's one thing I like about old movies is I rarely have to worry about a however many minute long sex scene and like which is funny because I imagine a lot of people have the exact same opinion on fight scenes. It's like, oh my god, how long are these idiots going to punch each other? I'm like, who cares? It's great. So some people enjoy watching people beat the crap out of each other on screen. Some people like to watch other people snogging on screen. So, hey, yeah, different strokes for different folks. But one interesting thing is, in order to be chaste about it, um, some of the kissing in older films is really stilted and awkward. Um, I saw a movie recently that had some of the single most awkward kissing I have ever seen in any movie ever, and I forget which movie it was, but I think it was Gaslight. I think I watched Gaslight recently, and I'm like, it's a great film, but oh my god, is the kissing weird? It's some of the most. It's people just kind of awkwardly pressing their faces against each other and then stopping. There's no to it. You know how you do that. There's kind of a a release. A finishing move to kissing, if you will. Not here. It's just awkwardly press face to other face and then stop. Just stops. Is the is the most awkward. I mean, my sister and I were watching. And we're like, this is the weirdest kissing we have ever seen. So, the D. Is that how you pronounce chaste? I If it's not, then I'm incorrect. Uh, I'm pretty sure it's chaste. Yes. Feel Look it up. Feel free to correct me. That's how I've always pronounced it. But English is a weird language. I could totally be wrong. Uh, Subsequent is a word that I had pronounced incorrectly for quite some time before someone said it's subsequent, not subsequent, or however I was pronouncing it. But um, one of the interesting things about being a reader, but not being the most amazingly outgoing and social dude ever, is I have a pretty decent vocabulary, but I never actually hear the words used. So sometimes I am totally mistaken about how the words are correctly pronounced. And that bites me in the butt sometimes. It's like, oh, hey, you are a learned fellow. You know big words, but you don't know how to pronounce them. It's like, oh, I feel bad. Lou agrees with me on the sex scenes. Yeah, I just call me immature, but yeah, it's just not something I don't care. I mean, I'm not like offended. I'm not petitioning the government or the MPAA or anything. It's just not something I enjoy watching, and I'm immature enough to just roll my eyes and kissing again. Blow something up, punch each other. So, it is how you pronounce chaste. My life is a lie, says Lukey. Um, you thought, Suzanne thought Hughes was Hugs, and a guy was not happy that I called him Mr. Hugs. I don't know. I was thinking, I was trying to craft a joke the other day, um, and I couldn't really get it to work, especially in the confines of Twitter. I was doing I was working chest in the gym the whenever I was earlier this week, and I was doing chest flies, and I was thinking, and I just had the idea of what I'm working is my hugging muscles, and so I was trying to parlay that into a joke format, and I had a bunch of different ideas, and none of them really worked well. I was trying to think of like a fake conversation. So, what'd you work in the gym? Worked my hugging muscles, chest flies. Yes, dork. Yeah, but it's not that. But I think the idea of chest flies working your hugging muscles is a decent premise for a joke. But I didn't. I didn't. I couldn't quite get there. So there's a joke premise for y'all. So go ahead and write your own. Chest flies being working your hugging muscles. Jordan says, "Why is everyone I know live streaming at this moment?" Well, I'm almost done because I've been just kind of dragging this stream kicking and screaming for half an hour because I have nothing to talk about. You were hugging the weights. Um, Loogie says, "I think there's a comic with that hug joke. Actually, oh, who? Like a drawn comic or like a stand-up comic who made that joke? Because that's also that's another. If only EZK were here to bail me out. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Is a lot of times I'll have an interesting idea, and then I'll look, and a million other people had the same interesting idea. Oh, is it drawn? Okay. So let's see. If I were to draw it, I'd probably do like an internal monologue type of thing, like laying on the bench doing chest flies and just thinking about how awesome at hugging I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be like gonna hug the shit out of people. Something like that. A thought bubble. That might be a good way to do it. So even weights need loves to need even weights need love too. Yeah. It's the weird thing about lifting weights is it's like, what do you do? I'm training to do what? Lift heavy things. I mean, it's like so you can bench press X amount of weight. That means you can. Doesn't mean anything more than I can bench press that amount of weight. That's it. It's not really applicable to anything else. So it's that exactly, dude. I'm gonna if you find that tweet it at me or something. I'd be interested in seeing it. Um, yeah. Let me see. I that happens with video ideas sometimes. I'll have an idea and then I will say, I wonder if someone's done this. I remember I was gonna do something about. I was getting it. I got it into my head. I don't remember what Sonic game was coming out at the time. It might have been Sonic Mania or something. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? I think Sonic is probably one of the most overrated gaming franchises ever. And then I typed that into whatever search engine, and some other much uh, someone with many more subscribers than I did exactly that. I've had that happen with like Jim Sterling. That's one of the things hard things about commenting on news is I don't do this for a living. So if I'm going to comment on something that's happening right now, it's probably not going to be for a couple of weeks until I find the time to actually script and produce it. But by then, everyone else has already done funny things. Oh, you know what? I had an idea for. I was going to do. I think this was actually back in the game politics days. I was going to do um uh an objective game review. Because back in the day, people are like, oh, get subjective opinion out of your review, which is the dumbest ask ever. So I was going to do a completely objective video game review. It's going to be so damn funny, and then Jim Sterling did exactly that, and I'm like, well, that saves me some time. I think I had part of it scripted too. Something that he beat me to the punch on, I had partially scripted. Um, oh well. And I guess it's not like you can't. Oh, someone else has done it, so you can't do it. You can. Um, but sometimes I'll look at him and go, well, yeah, I have nothing to add to that really. So. Um, Brian says training to carry all the groceries inside in one trip. That's about it. And that's true. I do find myself occasionally when because I have the heavy duty canvas bags, grocery bags. I do find myself doing like you know deltoid raises and stuff like that with the grocery bag just to just to see if I can do it. Because normally I shop right after I go to the gym, so I'm usually pretty tired. So. Um, Brian says, "Well, that's all set. Guess we can tell everyone they can stop working out now." You know, what would be nice is if I've thought many times, like, I wish it was diet or exercise. You know, one or the other. Pick one. Diet, exercise. Only need to do one. Exercise like a beast, but you can eat all the junk food you want. That would be great. But no, you got to do both. It's like, okay, I exercised. I'm done forever now, right? No, you have to keep doing it forever. You can never stop. Like a shark swimming. If you stop, you will die. You have to keep doing it. It's like, but I don't wanna. I know a lot of people who work like a friend of mine, Nahid, who is absolutely nuts. She always says, "Oh, just don't you just love working out? Don't you when you do lots of crunches and then you feel that lactic acid burning and doesn't that feel great?" I'm like, "No, you crazy person. What's wrong with you?" It's like because you're one with your body and your body is speaking to you and that's important. I'm like, yeah, my body is telling me don't ever do that again. So Nahid's a good person though. Let's see. Do, 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 do. The Nintendo Switch makes your playing without a TV sketch kind of pointless now. Um, for those who don't know, I have a video called Wii U Don't Need No TV or something like that, which was making fun of the idea that the Wii U was coming out, and the big thing was now we've got a new console that you don't need a TV to play. You can play it on this shitty little screen and hear sound out of this crappy. That's the mic. Where are the speakers? Oh no, I don't remember it. No, actually, this is the mic. These are the speakers. Um, and I thought, so I made fun of it, going like, yes, because ever since the NES, gamers have wanted nothing more than to not have to use the television to play their video games. Basically, the idea was, who asked for this? The answer was no one, because Nintendo couldn't figure out what the hell to do with it. Because a lot of people are like, great, so I can take this on the road, right? And just no, no, no. No, you have to stay in your living room. I mean, maybe you could make it to the kitchen, but that's about it. So I have to stay in the room pretty much with my TV. I just don't have to play on my TV. But if I'm in the room with my TV, why wouldn't I be playing on the TV? Well, there might be other people. Screw them. It's my turn. There's another television in the other room. Go watch it in there. Um, so I made a video making fun of that, and I had actually a lot of people in the comments going like, "What about the Game Boy Advance?" That's a handheld. I'm talking about consoles. But now we have the Switch that now you don't have to. Now you're not tethered to the television. Because the interesting thing about this is you're still you don't have to use the television, but you're still kind of tethered to it. In a manner of speaking. I mean, you could take the Wii U onto the Wii U console itself onto a plane and plug it in if you want. Um, and I've seen pictures of people doing that. But yeah, so, but old video. So, I mean, at least I have no videos that I'm like, I can't think of any video that I'm not still proud of. I mean, there's stuff that like the 20 dumbest things ever said by people about video games. I still like that video. I look at it today and I go, editing could have been tighter, but yeah, overall I'm happy with it. So that's nice. Let's see. D. Otritsu says reviews are mostly opinions anyway. It's quite hard to write one without your biases getting through. Yeah, that's exactly. That's the point of a review. Is what I personally think about this thing, this movie, this song, this video game, whatever. Which is why I thought it would be funny to write a literally objective review of a video game, but Senior Stirling beat me to it. Oh well. Um, Bonafide is actually bona fide. That doesn't sound right to me. If you want to, Brian says, if you, whoops, chat scrolling. If you want, stop commenting. I can't read the chat when it scrolls. If you want to lose weight, it basically is just diet. Dieting, working out does next to nothing for that. But for building muscles, yeah, you need both. Yeah, that's true. If you eat healthy, you will probably not be fat. Um, yeah, you're probably going to be a reedy little thing, but I mean, it really depends on what you're what you are going for. Uh, so my whole goal is to look good naked. That's it. It's that shallow. If I can look at my nude self in the mirror without recoiling in horror, that's That's when I know I've made it. I will probably never make it. I don't think I will ever be satisfied, which is both a good thing and a bad thing, I suppose. But because at least you always have motivation. But on the other hand, you're just never satisfied. It's like, I can always do better. Ah, I can do better than that. That's not good enough. So, Tritsu says Wii U was a stepping stone to the Switch. That it was. Jordan says if you have a portable camping plug station, you can stuff the Wii U in a backpack and play on. But that's true. Yeah. Um, let's see, Brian. Somehow Sony actually got that right with the PS3 and PSP. They just let you connect over the internet for remote play, but then they screwed it up by making remote play disabled by default. So almost no games could be played with it, even if the PSP's controls would be enough for it. Yeah. Uh, Jordan says flashing the people downstairs with your pull-ups was kind of cringe. Is that the neighbors don't know I do this video where I just did some pull-ups on the second floor balcony landing? I wasn't flashing anybody. There was nobody there. They don't know I do that. Um, yeah, but you know, there are no videos that I'm not proud of where I look at, I shouldn't have done that video. There are plenty where I'm like, I that portion isn't working for me. I would have changed the language here. I would have changed the editing here. As I grow and improve as a person and video producer. But there's overall, yeah, I'm happy with my body of work. Um, Lou says just get rid of the mirror. Yeah, there you go. Um, it makes shaving hard without the mirror. You can kind of go by feel, but I mean, even with the mirror, occasionally you miss something. Um, you'll be doing this, you'll be like, "Oh crap! How did I miss that?" Um, and I only have like this to worry about. I know people who shave like from here down, like arms and legs and butt and everything else. I'm like, man, I just wear sleeves, man. I really don't like the idea of dragging a razor across the flesh of my throat. I wonder why. But Jordan says you have no bad videos and want to love seeing yourself naked. Didn't know you were so narcissistic. I is that really narcissism? Well, narcissism is being in love with yourself, and I'm not. Maybe it's more of a narcissism is my goal. It's something I'm working towards. It's like I'm going to be so fantastic looking that I will just be the most narcissistic twerp on the face of the planet. So, okay, it's 8:15. I'm just spinning my wheels. I've got nothing to talk about. Gonna try and go see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse tomorrow because it looks great, and I'd like to see it. So remember that there is no Molehill Mountain podcast next weekend. Both Zachary and I are off doing the family thing, but we will be back next year. So in the meantime, Andrew Eisen here. Eisen is how you spell the last name. Plug it into YouTube. You'll find all those stupid videos. Follow me on Twitter at Andrew Eisen. And hey, in the meantime, have a lovely Christmas. Have a wonderful New Year's. And I shall see y'all in 2019. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.